We are live. Yep, looks like we're live, guys. Showing anybody over there? Oh, there we go. What's up, guys? Adam and Ashley here again, Thursday night. Tonight we're going to be painting another one of these cap style helmets. And theme. So I think that's what we're going to go ahead and do today. I've also had a lot of questions on the leafing, especially the glue, the sprayable glue. We're going to be going, there it is right here. We're going to be going over that today because we will be doing some gold leaf inside probably the KC letters and maybe inside the Chief. I haven't really decided yet, so we're gonna line it out, put things where they need to be, and kind of go from there and kind of decide as we go. Nothing's really set in stone here. But like always, I'm just going to get right to it. And if you guys have any questions, just go ahead and just hit me up in the chat. And my wife will go ahead and read those, and I'll try to get those answered for you. But appreciate it, Chris. We got Chris E. Brown in the house. Ralph, Jay. What's up, guys? Appreciate you being here. I got the airbrush all cleaned up, so that's good news. Shouldn't be having any problems with that. We're going to be using some black base coat, some candies. This is a gold candy and a bright red candy. So we'll be bringing those back out here in a moment. This has been metal flaked, limeline metal flake, and it had, what do we do? Three coats over this, and I sanded it down with a sanding sponge. Got that all finished and ready to go. It's all cleaned up with some glass cleaner. And we'll start by using some 1/8" tape to kind of line this out. But before I do that, one thing I do is I did have these. I found them online. I cut this out with a Cricut cutter. Pretty easy to do. Just took the image, downloaded it into Cricut design app right on my phone, was able to link it right to the Cricut cutter, and was able to cut these couple of stencils. So that made it a lot easier, especially on this one right here on the Chiefs. This one I could have easily cut out by hand because look how jagged it is. You know, really that you can do that pretty easy. So I am going to lay these out first, and I'll kind of wrap the design around what we got going on because, like I said, I really don't have any idea what we're going to do. I know we're going to do some lines. I know we're going to do red. I know we're going to do gold candy, and we're going to do some gold leafing, and hopefully get some of those questions answered on the leafing glue because I know I've had a lot of people hit me up lately. But first things first, we're going to take the, let me go ahead and raise this up a little bit real quick. All right, there we go. That's a little better. All right, so I got this all cleaned up. We're going to go ahead and lay the Chiefs lettering directly on the back. And my idea with this is maybe the gold strips will kind of come off of each side and then maybe dip up down into here or something. I don't know. But I know I want to put this in the back, so we'll go ahead and do that first.
Someone asked, what Cricut machine do you have and what vinyl?
I use the Cricut Maker 3. And it comes with the design. I think it's called Design Space, if I remember right. It comes with the Design Space app that will help you turn your images into cuttable formats without knowing how to do all the fancy stuff with Adobe Illustrator and vectors and the line pen tool and everything. You don't really need to know all that. As long as you can find a halfway decent photograph, you'd be able to clean it up enough to be able to put it into that Cricut. And what was the other question? The vinyl. The vinyl is Oracle. You can kind of see right here. It is the 631 the removable vinyl. So this is actually meant to be laid down and removed. So that way you don't have any kind of adhesive that sticks on or anything like that. So that's why you want to make sure you're using the right vinyl, because if you're going to use something that is like meant to be permanent, when you go to pull it, it could leave residue, which could be a big problem.
And then somebody asked, they said, I have mica powder, but it's not yours. Can I use your reducer and clear coat to turn it into sprayable paint?
I don't know the answer to that question. You should be able to, but if you're going to do it, test it first. If it's not automotive, I probably wouldn't do it. If they don't claim it to be automotive, I don't even think I would risk it. All right, that looks like a good spot.
And then someone said, which candy colors do you prefer to use, and do you always buy concentrated and dilute it down?
Yes. I always buy candy concentrates. That way you can mix them the way you want them. If you want them to be a little stronger, you put a little more candy compared to the clear base coat. I like to do that because when it comes to airbrushing and line work and stuff like that, sometimes you don't want all the build. So you're able to mix it up a little more potent, I guess. What was another question with that? You got to unmute yourself.
This is on, right?
Yeah, let me see. Nice. There you go. Nice view.
All right, guys, see if that's better. Oh, yeah, I can already hear it.
I can hear you.
All right, I think we fixed it. Thanks, guys. Okay, let's see. Another question said, do you charge by hour or by job?
It's almost impossible to charge by the hour, I feel. I do charge by the job and pretty much how many parts, and the how intense the graphics are, and it's also whether or not if like they're wanting it to be a particular way. I'll usually charge more too if they're not allowing me to give more input. But always, never give I think that's my advice with that. Never really try to give a firm price either. I mean, a lot of people are wanting a firm price, but, don't price anything out until you actually get it into the shop and get it prepped. Try to leave it open, because you find all kinds of stuff underneath paint jobs. You'll be prepping it and then there'll be like a huge dent, or you'll find a bubble that is caused by another problem. All right, so that looks good, right? Is that? Oh, that's like not on the center of the back. Wow. That's okay. That's my only one. I was like way off with that.
Jeez. $20 super chat.
Hey, thanks, Chris. Do you think he can straighten this out?
They say it looks like you have gloves.
Yeah. Finally, I have gloves on. But look how bad that is. I mean, yeah. All right, I'm gonna go with it. But man, usually if I had another stencil, I would go ahead and pull that off. You think I can pull that off and reapply it?
Try it with the tape again.
Man, I feel like I'm gonna ruin it. But that is not. I don't care. I'm just gonna leave it just like that. I don't want to ruin it. We're gonna go with it. Nobody's gonna know. All right, look how big this thing is. That thing's pretty huge. That's okay. I don't know what I was thinking there either, but We'll go ahead and transfer this onto there. We'll see how that goes. Maybe try to get that straight.
Couple questions. So someone said,
In a past video, you said you used Sherwin-Williams Finish 1 for your final clear coat session. Is that true?
Yeah, I used to. Yeah, years ago. I used the Limeline Clear, and I have been for like the last year. But my old videos, that is correct. I would use U-Pull to start, and then usually on the finish coats, I would use the Sherwin-Williams. I can't remember the part number. It was the cheaper one. But I use the Limeline Clear now because I have been testing that for quite a while, and I like it. It works good for me for these kind of paint jobs. I feel like for the money, it's a way better product than what you can get anywhere else.
And then someone said, so what's the difference in automotive mica powder than regular mica powder you buy on Amazon?
Well, the UV, I don't know. To be honest with you, I just don't. It could be the same stuff. I'm not sure what stuff you're referring to, but your safer bet would be to go with something that is made and formulated for automotive use. Although a lot of those pigments are used in a lot of different industries, and maybe it doesn't matter. But if you're using the Limeline pigments, I know they're good because I've been testing them for so long, and they are an automotive pigment. And they also use it in other industries as like coloring, epoxy clears and stuff like that as well. But the UV protection is one thing that you kind of want to keep an eye on. All right, let's see if I can get this a little better.
they asked, what's the kind of candy that you go for that you like?
I'm testing my own stuff once again, and I have been for a while. But House of Color is what I would recommend. The House of Color KK candy concentrates. So you would mix it with a inner coat clear or a clear base coat, or I think they have I don't even know what they call it, some fancy name. It'll come to me. Nebulizer, L nebulizer or something like that. I knew I'd think of it. All right, so let's pull that. So I got a couple of spots that look like they just got kind of raised right there. We'll take care of those in a second. You can also use Frisket film, the clear plastic film, for this as well. Oops.
Someone said, do you ever spray candy over base coat that isn't cleared, or do you always spray candy over clear? Or can you mix candy with inner coat clear and spray over base coat?
Yeah, you can. I think the answer is yes to a lot of those, and you can even mix clear base coat, or I'm sorry, white base coat, say with blue candy, and you could make a blue base coat out of that just by adding some of that blue candy. I like to use, and it looks better to use candies over either a flake like this, a metal flake, crushed glass, or some kind of a metallic or a pearl. That way you're getting that depth. That's what makes candies look so good, is having the shiny materials, the particles underneath, that kind of bounce back and reflect back through that candy coat, making it pretty much glow from the inside out. That's what it kind of looks like.
Someone said, do you still have to dilute it and it's concentrated? If it's concentrated, maybe?
You still need to thin it out. That's correct. Pretty much everything. You're going to use urethane reducer to thin out like your candies, your base coats. If you need to thin out your clear coat, you can use urethane clear coat or urethane reducer to do that as well.
You got pink on your gloves.
Oh.
And on the hat.
Contamination from last week.
Someone said you can put a KC in front of the Chiefs in the back to make it center better.
I'm sorry, what was that?
In the back, how you don't have it centered right?
Yeah.
They said you could put a KC.
Oh, that's a good idea. And put it like an outline of a piece of cheese. Is that what we're saying?
Cheese?
Cheese? Did you say cheese?
Why cheese?
I don't know why.
Not the Green Bay Packers.
I don't know why he's
A KC.
Oh,
Oh my.
Gotcha.
Hello.
I'm an idiot. I am. Yeah, I could put a KC back there. Or I could put a little arrowhead, I guess, too. Like an outline of an arrowhead. But I don't know why I was thinking cheese. I just was going with it because I automatically assumed cheese and football went together.
No. We're not the Green Bay Pack. You're not painting the Green Bay Packers there, buddy. Someone said, are you using 3M yellow tape?
Yes. All right, I'm just getting these edges down. Got something going on here that's not working right.
Someone said, cheese, he's hungry for sure.
Actually, I'm stuffed.
Who knows what this guy's thinking?
I'm an idiot.
Someone said, have you ever shot the beer Dabber 9000 line? Not great for designs, but the clear is amazing.
You thinking of cheddar?
You thinking of cheddar?
I was just reading that comment. Did you ask me something? Sorry.
Yeah, cheese.
Yeah, I'm still kind of getting over the cheese thing.
Well, are you over it? You ready for a question, or should I go get some cheese?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm not even feeling like cheese right now.
Okay, well, you ready to hear the next question?
I'm just hard of hearing is what the problem is, and I thought you said cheese, but...
Oh, no.
Okay, well, that gave me time to get this all fixed up. All right. Okay, that looks good. That is not too big. I thought it was looking way huge, and I got that better in the center. Let's see. Is there something I can do to address that? Like, yeah, like maybe I'll just do an arrowhead right there. Yeah. I'll do an arrowhead. Let me do that.
Okay, you do that. I'm going to ask you a couple questions.
Okay.
I'm going to try again. You got your hearing aids?
Yeah, can you give me a pin, though?
You got your hearing aids turned up? What, buddy?
This will work right here.
Okay, so someone said, have you, no, I don't know if I'm saying this right, but that's, they said, have you ever shot the beer 9000 line? Not great for designs, but the clear is amazing.
No, I've never heard of it.
And someone said, I found that
This don't look terrible. But anyways, go ahead.
Someone said, I found that the plastic line blades are good to knock down dried tape ridges before clear. Less blending.
That's a good idea.
Someone said, just put a gunshot there.
The bowl hole fix everything.
Someone said the German beers are gone and you accidentally slipped some bourbon in his coffee.
I did have one drink today.
Yeah, I think I'm drinking a Hurricane and he is too.
No, I drank mine.
Oh, maybe that's
I'm gone a long time ago.
maybe that's their problem. Now what do you have? Cold coffee?
I don't know. I feel like I'm doing a Christmas tree here.
Someone said, Ashley, grab him a sandwich.
I don't even know. Okay. I'm just going to do the edge of this.
And someone said, I started custom painting 2 years ago and started by following you and your ideas that you showed and do. I also use your products. I want to thank you for all that you do.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, thanks for
Jesse.
Thanks for the support, Jesse. For sure. Yeah, it's my pleasure. Okay, here's our Christmas tree.
The whole reason why you do this.
Yeah, sometimes it's not easy too because I got to figure out what I'm going to do, and sometimes I just don't feel like doing it. But I don't know. Once I get going, I'm fine. All right. I'm not super proud of what's going on right now, but.
Got a piece of cheese?
Cut my cheese.
What
Got
is
my
that?
arrow. Okay. Yeah, it looks like a tree, but and that made it right.
Can't see.
Oh. Much better. Yeah, I could probably cut. Maybe it'll look like less like a tree if I do this. Maybe if I go all the way down like that. It looks like a tree trunk to me. I need to. Now it looks like two trees. Now it looks like a tree with legs. We got it. That's good. Okay, so we got our two designs down. We got the Chiefs, and we got the logo there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 1/8 inch tape, and some of these areas I'm going to kind of just go around the edging. I usually like to start around the edge, and then I'll kind of build off of that. But I'll go ahead and build this panel out on the front of this bill to start.
Someone asked if you ever trade art.
No, that sounds like that would be fun, but I haven't really done that. No, I buy it. If somebody's down, I would be down to trade for sure.
Someone said, the person that asked if you trade art said he'd be down to trade.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, just hit me up on Instagram.
And then someone said another water slide video would be good.
Yeah, I'm hoping to do more stuff like that. Okay, we just paneled out the bill right there. That looks nice. All right, and then my other thing I was thinking is, so we are going to gold leaf inside of here. I was thinking about maybe having a leaf strip come out from both of these sides and maybe dip into the bottom here.
Someone said you haven't done motorcycle fenders in a while.
Fenders?
Yep.
Yep, you're right. I haven't actually done motorcycles in a while. Okay, maybe on this one I will. Let's give it about an inch or so.
Someone has a question about how to spray candy, so listen up.
Okay.
It says, sorry, when you're spraying candies, the heavier the candy, the more vibrant. Or adding layers of candy give you more color depth. Make any sense of what he's saying?
Yeah, that makes sense. So one thing you do need to think about is if are you spraying next to tape, or are you spraying like an overall kind of a paint job? Because yeah, you could put more clear base coat, intercoat clear, and make the candy mixture less potent, and it would in turn take more coats to do the same thing to make it the same color. And the question is, does it make it look like it has more depth? And I don't know. I always side on maybe having less build, and I think there's a spot where mixing it too light, you could have problems by having too much build, and mixing it too potent could also make it so it drowns it out too fast. So I like to follow the mixing it 70%. So 70% would be the clear base coat or the intercoat clear, whatever you're using, and the other 30% would come from the candy, and then you would reduce it and thin it out with urethane reducer to make it sprayable. So if you're spraying it out of a gun, you're going to want to reduce it to make it sprayable so it sprays right out of a gun. If you're going to spray with a airbrush, then you're going to want to reduce it a little bit more, because it needs to come out of a smaller area. So the mixture needs to be thinner. I would say follow the directions if there is directions. I know with House of Color, it's kind of hard to know how to mix it, because there's really, I don't know really where the directions are found, but I think 70% rule, 70-30 is a good place to start, and I've always kind of found that would be the sweet spot. Did that answer all that question, do you think?
I think so.
Okay. All right, that looks good. I'll go ahead and find the center line right down the middle of this helmet real quick. Or close to. Yeah, that looks pretty close. All right. I think what I'll do is make sure that's in the center. What I'll do is I'll probably bring this line up to like maybe kind of where a cap normally would like panel out, so maybe look here. Actually, I think I'll go ahead and I'll just come right off of this line. We'll see how this looks at least. And then I'll bring it up like this. Yeah, it looks all right. Probably could have came in a little more right there, but yeah, it looks good. So let's go ahead and do the same thing on this side. So I'll come off of the, looks like the top of the lettering here. And now we're going to have to eyeball it. So I can see this rivet in the helmet right here. I'll kind of use that as like a placement. And it looks like, what am I, like 2.5 fingers? So I'm totally going to guess on this. Bring it back a little bit. Yeah, that's looking right. Not too bad. Let's see. Let me finish it off and see if I can make this happen. Huh, that's not too bad. I'm going to go with it. Usually it'd take me a couple of shots to make that work, but all right. I'm going to pull off our center line here. We don't need that anymore. And all right, that'll kind of panel it out like that. That one probably has a little better bend than this one, but we're good. Now I'm going to be able to tell. All right, we're going to go ahead and switch to the 16th inch. And we're going to basically just run, like I usually do, is I'll run a line about 1/8 inch away.
Someone said, how do you mix your clear coat amount for the airbrush? Like 4 in 1 in a small amount?
Did you say clear coat?
Mm-hmm.
So you really shouldn't be mixing clear coat in an airbrush. It's not really, I mean, airbrush is not really meant for that. And you're never going to really, I'm not going to say never, but it could work on, if you're using small models, doing stuff like that, maybe it would work. But anything like this, you would use a full-size spray gun in order to shoot your clear coat. Now, if you're talking about clear base coat by chance, then you would thin it out. Did it say, that was the question, right? Thinning it out.
How do you mix your clear coat amount for the airbrush? Like 4 to 1 in a small amount?
Yeah, so he was speaking of clear coat.
He says, sorry, in a cup.
What was that?
He says, sorry, a cup.
Yeah, so in a cup rather than an airbrush? Is that what we're talking?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. If it's so, it's 4 to 1 with the with some clear coats. It depends on the clear coat. The lime line is going to be a 2 to 1. Just follow the directions. It's because it does all brands are different. It's either going to be 2 to 1. It can be 4 to 1. It could be 2 to 1 with reducer. It kind of all depends. But yeah, when it comes to clear coat, you're generally always going to be spraying that out of a paint gun rather than an airbrush. Airbrush is for detail and for color. Paint gun would be for also for color, but for clear coat as well.
And someone said, any tips for cornering and bending tape lines?
Just don't pull on your tape too hard. That's the biggest tip I could say. Because like right now, you can see that I have to kind of tug on it to get it to go where it needs to go. So just don't pull on it too hard. And if you're going to take really like tight corners, it's a good idea just to put a piece of masking tape over it. Like right here, if I was to bend that corner right there, which I probably can. We can just go ahead and do it right here, maybe. Instead of talking about it, maybe we can implement what we're talking about here. So if I was to do a corner right here, see, I want to make sure I don't pull too hard on that tape. It's going to want to pull it and come detached. And the answer to that question is, so I got it to stick. I didn't pull it too hard. It's still staying. You can put a little piece of tape just like that, and that'll hold it in place. And then, you know, obviously when you're ready to spray, you pull that.
And then someone said, hey, a shout out from you in Utah, do you have a storefront that can pick up supplies from?
We really don't have a, and what's up from Utah? We really don't have a storefront. You can hit us up at Autorama in, was it 2 weeks? I think it's in 2 weeks. We'll be Autorama in Salt Lake City set up there. So you can hit us up there and maybe you can pick up supplies. Or maybe I'll just hook you up with some supplies. Who knows, you know? All right, I'm gonna make this corner. So you see I trimmed, in order to match it up here, I trimmed that short. And also, so this is gonna be a tough one. All right, we made it happen though. That was wasn't a whole lot of room in there to get that to twist around, but looks like we got it. We'll do the same thing. We'll go ahead and lay down a piece of safety tape on that because that bend was so sharp. We can keep that pressed down, and by the time we're ready to paint, we'll pull that up. That'll stay down for a long time. Okay, so far so good. I think we need to trim up a little bit back here. Or that runs into the logo there. And then into the Christmas tree. Oh, dude. Oh.
Someone said, when you final clear, do you sand the entire piece with 2000 before clearing to create a better adhesion? And how many coats of clear?
Yeah, but usually I'll do 800 grit instead of 2000, even though 2000 is fine. And yes, I like to do that. I like to, before anything's finished, I like it to be clear. I can sand it down with 800 grit or 2000, like you were saying, get it all nice and cleaned up, and then put another 2 to 3 coats of clear on it. Maybe even add a little bit of urethane reducer into your clear coat mixture to get it to flow out a little nicer. And yeah, then you got a really nice finished surface to be able to still cut and buff. All right, that's looking good. I think that's maybe all we'll do. I don't know. I could do one more panel up in here. Let's do that. Let's go ahead and do one more panel kind of coming out from just right here. So that way we can have a little bit of an overlap. So you can see how that works. So once again, I'm going to, looking at the negative space here, I'm going to try to keep that even. There we go.
I have a long question to ask. So someone says, hey Adam, I make custom wood flags and I'm looking for a softer clear coat that can move with the wood. The paints I use don't mix with polyurethane and melt. I'm currently using a rattle can 1K or 2K clear, but I'm worried about the hardness. Any input on this?
I feel like well, you know, a lot of paints nowadays, especially clear coats, is a lot more flexible than it used to be. In fact, I think there even used to be a flex additive you would add into a paint. I don't even know if that's a thing anymore. Maybe it still is. But I don't, unless you've had problems with it, I wouldn't see why clear coat wouldn't hold up. But I could be wrong on that.
Just looking for a softer clear coat.
I would say a 1K clear coat would be better off moving with the wood than a 2K. But yeah, I really don't know. Everything that has to do with automotive is going to be rock hard, as it should be. You know.
Someone replied and said SGC1 has a flex additive.
Okay, so that might be the answer to that question. Is a flex additive, because I guess they still do have flex additives. I've always heard of them, but haven't heard of them recently. Yeah, give that a shot.
Someone said, where can we go to see your full line of supplies?
The Amazon store page, so you can check out the link. My Amazon store link. Everything should be there. Also, some website that would have everything would be the Big Cartel. So Limeline Paint Supply at bigcartel.com. Maybe you can even write that on there real quick and put it on the screen for him. You can do that. All right. Looking good. Let's go ahead and I think we're ready. We could run another 16th inch around right there, but I'm going to go ahead and leave that. I feel like we might back mask the other way, or maybe not. We'll see. Okay, we have some Limeline black base coat in here. Reduce that out just a little bit more. All right, once again, I'm using a Iwata Neo. It's $80 or something like that on Amazon. It's a good brush. It'll last you, if you take care of it, it'll last you like a year or something. I don't know, it depends on how much you use it. Pull off our safety tape. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll go ahead and start there. Since we pulled the tape off, we want to make sure that that stays stuck. So I'm just aiming for the tape, blending out both sides.
Someone asked if you've used, have you worked with Clean Armor clear coat?
What kind of clear coat?
Clean Armor.
Huh, never tried it.
And someone said, is automotive clear the same as 2K clear or the inner clear I hear you talking about?
No, 2K clear coat is a 2-part clear coat that is meant to go on wet, and it takes, hours to dry, minimum 12 hours. Some clears are faster, they're different. It's meant to build and protect. It's a finish coat. Clear base coat is different. Imagine this black base coat that I'm spraying right here. Imagine if it was clear. It'd be the same thing, the same kind of properties. This is not a clear coat. This is a base coat. So when I touch it, it's drying almost instantly. It's made up of pigments and reducers and binders that dry fast. It's not like a regular clear coat top coat, like what 2K would be. And 2K, I know a lot of people don't really understand 2K. 2K basically means that it's a 2-component. I don't know if that's what the K actually means. Maybe somebody knows. But it means there's 2 parts to it. There's part A and there's part B. And the reason why there's 2 parts is because it needs to be chemically hardened, rather than just like a 1K wouldn't have that 2-part, that second part to it to give it the chemical dryness, that kick to make it resistant to UV, makes it resistant to chemicals like gasoline. It makes it so you're able to sand it. So clear base coat or inner coat clear is not to be confused with clear coat. Completely different. So I hope that clears that up a little bit. Clear base coat is used to put either a candy in it, a candy concentrate like we're going to do here, or you can put a pearl or a metallic in it as well, and that's a way to get get those pigments to stick to the surface and to stay to the surface. Is the fact that there's that clear base coat that kind of holds everything in. Dries fast. Like literally, see, I just dried that. Or sprayed that. It's dry. That's how fast this stuff dries. As long as it's sprayed, fairly slow, like I'm doing here. So 2K clear coats is for when you're all finished up, or you're wanting to create a layer in between your artwork. You would go ahead and clear it with a paint gun, and let that sit for 12 to 24 hours, and then you would sand it, and then move along with more layers of custom paint on top of that. A lot of people also think that once you clear it, you're finished. That's not necessarily the case. I clear coat stuff all the time. Like, we could do the artwork on this, even though it's already been clear coated and this metallic has been buried. We'd pull the tape lines. I would clear coat it. We could scuff it back down with a 800 grit, and then do more artwork on top of that, and then re-clear coat again over the top of that. And you can repeat that process, many times, whatever you feel comfortable with, because sometimes you get to where there is a lot of paint on the surface, but sometimes that's just what it takes in order to make these look good. So it takes 3 to 4 rounds of clear coat to finish something up that's really nice, with 3 or 4 coats of clear each round. So we're talking 12 coats all said and done, maybe even more, for these more complex paint jobs. Not necessary though. I mean, some people can get away with it just clearing it and being done. It all just depends on what you're wanting out of it, how nice you really want it. Are you building a daily driver, or are you building a show bike? Are you painting it for yourself, or is it for a customer? Because that's a big deal. The customers, and they're paying for it. They're going to expect to be cut and buffed. To be honest, if you're not finishing the job, sanding and polishing something, and a customer's paying for it, you probably should be doing it. Unless they know. I mean, or unless you're laying out clear that good, maybe you don't need to. kind of depends on what you're doing and what your expectations are.
Someone said,
When you're using the fine line tape, is there one major rule you try to follow when applying tape or coming up with the design?
I'm sorry. Say that one more time. I just missed a little bit of that.
When using the fine line tape, is there one major rule you try to follow when applying the tape or coming up with the design?
Yeah. So as far as the biggest rule is not to pull or stretch the tape. That's the biggest thing. And you know, with the design, I like to follow the edges and start there. Like right here, I started the edge of the bill right here, and I just kind of followed like maybe a 1/4 inch off of that. And then I kind of built off of that. So like say like this line right here that comes out of the underneath that, well, we wouldn't have been able to do that without this line already being in there. So that's why like we didn't have this idea to do that until that was already in. So I'm like, oh, okay, so that's why it's better, I feel like, to start out your edges and then kind of build off of what you have. If it looks good, go with it. Maybe, you know, keep building off of it if you feel like you need more lines. Or if it doesn't look good, just pull it and try something else. Also going front to back or side to side rather than diagonal, maybe. If you're going to start, do something like that, maybe. Just start front to back. But that's none of that's a hard rule. You can do whatever you want, whatever looks good. You find your own style.
And then someone asked, do you treat plastics different in terms of prep, like plastic adhesion promoter or anything like that?
Yes, you should. These helmets, however, do have a coating on them. So considering it's not actually, we're not really painting on top of plastic. We're painting on top of a coating that's on top of plastic already. So basically all I did was scuff this down and I was able to apply the metal flake directly over that black base coat, or that the black base color of what the helmet was. But if it's raw plastic, you're going to need to use some kind of adhesion promoter. But I'm not all that good with stuff like that. Usually, I paint a lot of motorcycle parts, and mainly everything's metal. Sometimes it's fiberglass, not very often. Sometimes it'll be, I guess sometimes it's plastic. But if it's coated, then I've never had a problem if it's coated. Just scuff it down.
And then this was a while back, well, a little bit back when you were talking about clear. They just said, so the clear base coat is what I would mix into my metal flake.
You can't. That is one way you can do it. The better way to do the metal flake is actually mixing it in with your 2K clear coat. That is one exception, and it will work both ways. You can put it in the metal flake straight into the inner coat clear, reduce it, and spray it on. The problem is it dries fast, like if it's a clear base coat, and it causes the flakes to kind of stand up at weird angles, making a lot of texture. So when you go to clear coat it, it has a lot of texture, and you need to sand it a lot more to get those flakes to smooth out. When you mix it with clear coat, and like I said, this is the exception with big flake. If you're mixing it with your regular 2K clear coat, it has enough time that kind of lays out smoother, and then you're able to go spray the straight clear coat with no flake on there in order to get that to smooth out. But if you have the line flake, just follow the instructions on that. That'll help you out.
And then someone said, what would the flashing time for these clear rounds be?
It's a good question. Would be 10 to 15 minutes, but it depends on your conditions. A better way to do it would be to say I was painting this helmet right here with clear coat, and I didn't know if it was ready for another clear session. I would touch it like down up under here on the tape, and if it strings up, you want to wait a little bit longer. But if it's tacky, then you're good to go with another coat. And the reason why that's better is because, you know, I don't know if it's 80 degrees, 90 degrees, 70 degrees, 50 degrees where you're spraying. That's all going to make a big difference on how long it takes for your clear coat to dry and the wait time in between those coats. Also, you know, how thick did you spray it? What was it? Did you spray out of a 1.3, 1.4, 1.7? You know, that's all going to change how long it takes for that clear coat to dry for the next coat. So I feel like times are almost irrelevant. It gives you a good idea to start from, like at a normal 70 degrees, sprayed out of a 1.3 with normal humidity and normal conditions. It's going to be 10 to 15 minutes in between coats. Could be more, could be less.
Then someone says, what does high solids clear mean?
High solids clear means that it's less of it evaporates, and it actually builds a thicker layer of clear. So high solids clear. Now I could be wrong. You know, I don't know. I'm not claiming to know everything. But high solid clears are going to make is going to build up over your project faster and create more of a thickness rather than something that's not so high solids. But you know, sometimes those high solid clears, they don't lay out as good as they should. So maybe reducing them with a little bit of urethane reducer would help. But yeah, I mean, if you think you need a really high solids clear, then go for it. I mean, some people they're wanting to get everything done in one coat, or they're wanting to get all these graphics done and they're wanting to clear it in 3 coats and they want to be done with it. Well, that's not always the best way, because you really need to sand it in between. Like, if you have a paint edge that's super thick and you're like, okay, I'd rather buy the more expensive high solids clear coat I'm going to be able to bury that in 2 coats of clear and it's going to fix everything. That's not the case. It's going to, yes, maybe add a little more of a substance and make it dry thicker, but it still needs to be cut down. Like, the thickness is still there. It needs to be actually sanded to make those 2 layers even again. It's not the clear coat that does that. And so that's why I feel like, you know, it's better to go with the 3 or 4 coats of clear coat, sand it, and then go back with another 3 or 4 coats of clear coat. And you can repeat that process as many times as you think you need.
And then someone asked, what air compressor do you use for your paint gun that you're using right now? And what's the PSI at?
So I'm using an Iwata Studio on-demand air compressor. It's just, you can buy them, I think, with a kit with an airbrush. Not sure on that, but you can buy any of the Iwata airbrush compressors to run a compressor like this. But keep in mind, that's not going to spray. That's not going to handle a spray gun. You know, that's just a little bit of air out of a little tube. A spray gun, you're going to need a full-size compressor. You could also use that full-size compressor to run this airbrush as well. You're just going to want a regulator to, you know, because you're not wanting, you know, 90 psi run into this thing.
What PSI are you using?
PSI is around 16. All right. We're going to go ahead and lay out some candy on this thing.
Is a 5 horsepower compressor good for a paint gun?
5 horse. Huh. I'm guessing that's gas powered if it's a 5 horse. Usually I would recommend a 2-stage compressor, a 2-pump, one with a double pump. Like, sometimes you'll see them, they'll have the 1 pump, like the 1 piston. If you have the one that's like a V, right? And it has it's double pumping. You want the double pump.
What specific compressor do you use for your paint gun?
I have the nicest one that Harbor Freight sells. And I'm not sure if they still sell it. It's the 50-gallon, I think, 50-gallon tank, and it is a 2-stage.
What PSI do you use for bigger guns?
A good place to start would be 28 PSI. You can adjust that, though. Sometimes I like to spray that a little bit lower. And remember, the air pressure and the thickness of what you're spraying, they're both relevant to each other. So if one changes, if either one of those changes, it's going to change the way that the gun is spraying. So if you're forced to spray at a lower pressure because of certain reasons, you could thin out your paint more with urethane reducer. Just keep in mind that's going to, if you're thinning out your clear coat, that could make it run a little easier. But yeah, if you're forced to wear, you have lower air pressure, reduce your paint out more, and that should kind of offset that. Or if you have thicker paint, more air pressure.
Is 28 PSI too much pressure for the Neo?
It depends on what you're doing. But yes, that seems like that would be a little more than what you would want. But no, you could still run 28 out of an airbrush and still be okay.
Is a Harbor Freight paint gun okay for spraying Metal Flake a 1.8 tip?
Yep, it is.
Someone said a good rule of thumb for compressors is the CFM sustained at PSI.
Yes, those are important things.
Does your little Iwata compressor go up to 28?
No, I think it taps out around 22. But I have ran it at 28 before. I think I ran my airbrush more even at 40 before. Probably not optimal, but.
Someone said when you were doing bikes and a customer gave you some ideas of what they wanted and said you have free range, did that scare you? Not everyone has the same creativity level.
Yeah, and they think they're doing you a favor. And I don't know if that's a favor or not, letting them telling you that you can do whatever you want.
Because your whatever you want is different than my whatever I want.
Exactly. And that's not necessarily what they mean.
Yeah.
They're like, do me something that's so cool that that I'm going to love it. Well, that's not, the stuff that I want to paint right now is usually not the stuff that people are wanting to see. But if they do say that, which is good, then I would still get some kind of reference from them, and then still fill out what their expectations are, because they say, yeah, do whatever you want, but then they're like, oh man, I just don't really like the lace, like I don't like. Some people just don't like lace. It's just maybe I don't know. Maybe it's too minimum or something. I don't know. But see, it's better to talk those things over. Like if they're wanting to do a panel job like this, I like to ask them if there's anything that they don't like. Like, is there like the lace? Do you not like fish scales? Do you not like lace? How do you feel about, what colors are you thinking? And then kind of go from there. But it's still a good thing when they say to kind of leave it open as part of free range, doing what you want, but don't do what they want still. You just got to kind of pry it out of them.
And someone said, how much time do you have between patterns before you have to clear? And how many days before you have to clear?
So I'm sorry.
One more part to that question. And should you use adhesion promoter if you're waiting till the next day to continue the pattern?
Yeah, so I would not do that. And say the first part of the question again, so I can.
Okay,
That's
so the first, do you want me to just do one part at a time?
Yeah.
Okay. How much time do you have between patterns before you have to clear? And how many days before you have to clear?
So the pattern, so really you can let this sit for, I'd feel comfortable to 2 weeks. Anything after that, you might want to throw it back into clear coat again. Or you can lightly spray it with some inner coat clear. That'll probably get its tack back up again. But like when you like, this has been scuffed down. This is sanded clear coat right now. And I think we talked about this last week or the week before. After a while, it will self-heal, because what it is those scratches are what's allowing the next layer of paint, the candy, to adhere. If we're trying to spray this directly onto the clear coat that's not sanded, well, it's not going to have that bite that the sand scratch is there for the paint to bite into, and it's going to cause an adhesion problem. It's going to lift off of that eventually. So
How much time in between?
how much time? I would say 2 weeks. I would say 2 weeks.
And someone answered, only adhesion promoter on raw plastics.
Yeah. I wouldn't mess with anything like that, especially with your artwork. That would just be kind of a beginning thing.
Someone said, on the pigments, do you mix 1 scoop with 1 ounce sprayable, i.e. like a half an ounce clear and a half an ounce of reducer?
So yes, so the answer to that question is sprayable. So it's going to be depending on the clear base coat you're using. If you're using the Limeline, it's going to be the half an ounce of clear base coat and the half ounce of reducer to make 1 ounce, and then you mix that with the powder with pigment with that 1 ounce. You may find that it could be a little too potent. That's mixed at full capacity, and that's not a hard rule. You can mix a half a scoop with that, depending on what you're wanting to do exactly. But for full concentration, that's what it should be mixed with.
Someone said, if you come across a Sparmax compressor, you need to try one.
Oh yeah, that's a good compressor.
He said you need to try one. He thinks you'll like it. And then, is that candy your brand that you were trying out?
Yep.
And then the person that asked about the pigments is Eric, and he said, thanks, I made the first batches of pigment a little on the weak side.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you mix it to the 1 ounce sprayable, it's going to be super, super potent. And sometimes you want it a little less. So it kind of depends on what you're doing.
The one that asked about the paint jobs, about does it scare you? He said, that's what I'm telling him. Thank you. Very helpful. I didn't think to ask what he didn't like, just what he liked.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually the more important question, is what don't you like? What do you not want to see? And then as long as you don't do those, you're good. And don't try to really surprise. Like I think when you're new as a painter, you like to make people surprises. Like, oh, I'm gonna put this on their bike.
I like surprises.
Yeah.
I love surprises.
Well, you know what? Some customers do not like surprises. You can't put what did I do? I surprised somebody with a Johnny Bravo painting on. Everybody called him Johnny Bravo because he kind of looked like Bravo. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put Johnny Bravo on it, and he was not happy. He's all, why? Why did you do that, man? Like, we were cool. I mean, but yeah, he wasn't too thrilled with that. I think I put a saying there with it too, didn't I? I can't remember exactly. It was funny.
I don't know if you did a saying, but I do
put
remember.
a couple of wieners, but that's only for my friends.
Yeah, don't do that. No one wants that shit.
I don't know. Guys just like to paint wieners on, you know. I don't know what it is. So I'm just edging this out with that red candy. We're also going to add some gold to this as well, so we'll have a little bit of a blend from like a red into an orange, and then into that gold.
Someone said, how much longer before the candy are coming out?
You can expect probably spraying time. There's still a little bit more testing that needs to be done, and so far so good, but we're working on the labeling too. So. Okay. Give a little bit more of a blend into the center panels right here. All right. Let's try something here. We're going to go ahead and run some sun rays out of this corner right here. We haven't done those in a while. So the thing with sun rays is, set this down somewhere. Prop this up. All right, so with sun rays, you can you want to start with a corner and stick with a corner, and then start at the bottom and always move up. That way you're not taping on top of what you've already done. So say like you were to start in this corner and you were to do the top here and spray that. When you come down, you're going to be taping over what you just did. And it's not going to look right, and you can't see your distance either. So by picking a corner, and then starting it thin to make it go fatter, taking our red airbrush paint, and then we're going to aim for the edge of the tape right there and letting the overspray kind of mist down into that, making that first sun ray. Pull that one. Same thing there.
Someone said,
Is your candy also concentrates?
Yes. So they're going to be a 70% mixture, 70% clear base coat, 30% color, which would be the concentrate. Last one. All right. Blend that in a little bit. All right, that's looking good. I think what we'll do on, what we'll go ahead and do is we'll lay out this gold. All right, gold candy right here. Might need a little bit of reducer in that. All right, just gonna add some of this gold just to kind of brighten this up a little bit. And the Chiefs are red and gold, right? Yeah. Yeah, red and yellow.
Someone said, safe to assume that this color combination would be great for flames too.
For what? What's that?
Would this color combination be good for flames?
Yeah, it would. Could even add purple to it as well.
Someone said, found your channel a couple weeks ago. I have picked up a lot of techniques, learned a lot of tips and tricks. Keep the videos coming, please.
Yeah, thanks, man. I will try. As long as there's people here watching, I'll keep doing it. So far, so good. Okay, this I'm going to actually end up filling all the way in with black because I really want that to, I really want a lot of contrast there between the leafing that we're going to be doing and the black base coat. It's going to add some nice contrast, make it look real good in the front there, hopefully. But I am going to blend this gold up and around that area so it's like everything kind of blends in from an orange to a gold out from that red. You could also do this with a paint gun as well. But yeah, I'm already airbrushing. I might as well just do it.
Somebody says, how do you clean out your... Do you clean your guns thoroughly when switching colors? If so, what products? How do you do it so fast?
Use lacquer thinner. That's pretty much it. Just use lacquer thinner in a bottle. It's pretty fast, and it's just a little, you know, just a little thing. Doesn't take much. All right. I'll fume us out here. I think that'll be good enough. I'm going to go ahead and load some black back up, and I'm going to go ahead and fill this center in with some black. All right, cool. So when we leaf that, that'll have a really nice contrast between that black and that bright gold.
Someone said, have you ever done a holographic paint job using plastic wrap?
Yeah, like a marbleized. Yep. I'm guessing that's what he's speaking of. All right, I'm just going to mask off. So the inner part of this Chiefs, the letters, we're going to go ahead and lay out some gold leaf on there. But we do need to mask this off a little bit because we are going to be spraying down the leaf, the sizing glue, with that same airbrush. So we're going to want to mask it up a little bit. Make sure we don't get any overspray.
Someone said, don't take offense to this, please. I love how at this stage it looks kind of messy and then you peel shit off and it's a masterpiece.
Yeah, it does. You know what? And then you'll actually find that with doing a lot of your paint jobs, especially airbrush murals, they always end up looking like crap. Like they'll look pretty good, like when the tape's on and when you start the first few layers, and then you'll start to do more, and then like, oh my god, am I making a mess? And then you got to build your confidence back up. And but yeah, this will look great once it's all, you know, it's missing contrast is what's happening. You know, it's all kind of blending into one thing. But once we pull the lines up and lay down some of this leafing, it's going to really really spice it up. Maybe do one more up top here. Okay. So we'll go ahead and leaf this now. Yeah. Actually, let's go ahead and maybe I'll go ahead and tape out this outer edge, and we'll do that at the same time. So on this front logo, my plan is to gold leaf this outer edge. I'm going to mask off this the black inner part, and then we're going to leaf the KC on the middle of that. So bear with me for a second. I'm going to have to work my magic in there.
Someone said they just got the sizing glue and can't wait to try it out.
Yeah, right on. Well, if you stick around, we'll be using it here in just a few minutes. All right, looks like I got that outside taken care of.
Someone said, I'd like to share some of the stuff Adam has showed us. I have used about all of his techniques. So many people love the aluminum foil I put on my tank. They can't believe you can't fill it.
Yeah, so you got away with doing that one, huh? That's not an easy one.
It's not an easy one.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that comment.
Someone said, have you ever used real crushed glass, and what is your opinion?
No, I've never really used real crushed glass. And really, it's not as good. It's it's gonna have a lot of well, I don't know. Like I haven't used it, so I really don't know. But I could imagine it having its own fair share of problems. I feel like it probably wouldn't be as shiny. I think a broken mirror would be better because the glass really doesn't have the reflective properties like what some of these synthetic things that we use. They're more like a broken mirror, so it's going to reflect more, and that's really what makes it look so good. Okay, so all right, let's see here.
Somebody said crushed zirconia looked awesome. And it's a lot more reflective. He saw on a bike at a show and it looked cool.
Sounds cool. Bear with me on this. This is going to take just a little bit. I cannot see a thing. This is where clear frisket would really come in handy, because I am having a hard time kind of seeing the edge there. I'll kind of fix that up as I go.
Somebody said, how do you keep the tape from pulling up the paint below?
You kind of have to just trust that you've prepped everything correctly, because if everything's prepped right, then you're not going to have a problem. If you say like you were to use spray paint for a base coat, or spray paint for like the primer or something, you could run into some problems. But this has all been prepped correctly, and everything's been sanded, so the paint has something to stick to. But yeah, I mean, sometimes it happens still.
And then someone said, when cutting through masking tape, are you following the edge of the fine line tape or cutting down the middle of the tape? And any pointers?
I am cutting the edge of one side and down the middle of the other side. Hopefully that makes sense.
And then someone said, how much thickness does a crushed glass or flake add to a surface? Want to try it on a tumbler cup, but don't want the cup being bigger than the lid, like some epoxy covered cups.
Yeah, you're not going to have that problem. It would take a lot, I feel like. But if you're looking for it to be a little thinner, I would go with the metal flake rather than the glass. Glass is going to take more layers to thin it out. This is a pain in the ass, I'm not going to lie. I wish I had some clear frisket, really. because with the black base, it's super hard to see where I'm cutting. But I really want these letters to be in leaf.
What type of spray adhesive is that you use to leaf with?
Spray adhesive?
Uh-huh.
For what?
For the leaf.
Limelight blue. We will show that here very shortly. All right, getting closer here. Hey, will you look in that box, maybe over there, or maybe back there? I think there's that yellow tape that's thinner. I want to be able to see through a little bit better right here. It's the cheaper stuff. Yeah, does that look like it's more transparent? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's what I need. What's wrong with it? Why does it look like this?
Cheaper.
Oh yeah.
Is that better?
I think so. Yeah, that helps a little bit. Oh yeah, now I can see. We are almost there. Let's see a little spot right here. Take care of that.
Someone said, could you print out a mask on the Cricut rather than doing that with the tape?
I probably could have saved that other mask I had and got it pretty close to where it would line up, and then I wouldn't have to mask quite as much. But yeah, I mean, I couldn't just leave it on there because I needed to black it out. So for the process, it needed to be pulled out. Sometimes things are just you have to do it the hard way.
Someone said, will you be coming out with different grits of sanding sponges? I've used the 2 packs of your 600. Game changer on bikes between clear. Love them. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Just the 600 grit is what we're doing. We do have different sandpapers.
Someone said, have you used the frog tape, masking tape? If so, how did you like it?
Frog tape. Yeah, I think that's more for household use rather than automotive. But I could be wrong. I've never really used it for any automotive stuff. All right, just a couple spots here and there. Let's see. There, right there. Right there, right there. Okay.
What masking tape do you use?
I use buyback, and I use some 3M, and then right now this cheaper stuff, which is, I think it's LeChamp. It's on Amazon. It's a little bit thinner, but for what I'm doing here, it's way better because I'm actually able to see where I can cut. Which, get that right there. Okay, there we go. Well, this is tedious. Almost got it though. A little bit right there. All right, looks like I think I have it pretty good. Maybe just right there, just a little sliver.
When doing leaf work, what other techniques or effects can be done on the leaf except besides spinning it?
You could leave it. You could just burnish it with the brush. I talked to somebody about doing like a basket weave, And I might actually try that on coming up on something that I'm going to be doing here. Some different techniques, maybe with some basket weaving. But I feel like the spins offer so much. Like they just make it look so good. It adds a lot of depth. I just really like the look of the spin, so I always do it. All right, I think we got it here. Yes, sir. Just gonna add a little more masking here and there. Okay, I got it. I don't think I missed anything. Oh, that's good.
Someone wants to know what the temperature in the shop is right now.
Whew, it's kind of cold, huh?
Yeah, I'm cold.
It's probably like 65. Probably maybe like 62.
Yeah, probably like 62. Cold.
Okay, on to what most of you are probably here for is the leafing. We're going to use the Limelight sizing glue. Some exciting news if you're in Japan. We also have the sizing glue along with all the leafing supplies that will be available in Japan as well, with all the instructions and everything with that. So that'll be FBA, Amazon. You'll be able to order that in Japan if you live there. But if you don't live there, you probably just order it from somewhere else.
I want to know if it's still snowing here.
Nope. Right? Is it? I don't
It's
think
going to
so.
snow next week, but there still is snow on the ground. It's going to be a busy weekend. We get the NBA All-Star thing this weekend.
Oh, really? Wow.
Game.
Okay, one thing with this glue is it needs to be mixed 50-50 with water. And you want to make sure you do that because you want to make it thin enough to be able to spray out smoothly out of your airbrush. You don't want it all clumpy. You want it to stay as smooth as possible. Okay, so that. Oh.
Can you use 2K clear for your final?
Old coats of clear.
You should use, yes, 2K clear coat for your final coats of clear coat, yeah.
And then is that just regular water, just tap water, or distilled water?
That's just regular tap water. I don't think there's any reason to use distilled water. All right, I'm going to use my same airbrush. I want to make sure all the solvent is cleaned out of it and all the paint's cleaned out of it. All right, we'll go ahead and start on this back. So the first coats, I'm just dusting on really light. One thing you don't want to do is oversaturate it, especially at first, because oh, looks like I got a little spot there that I need to. Oh no, I'm good. You don't want to oversaturate, especially at first, like I just did right there. You see how it's starting to, and I mean it's not too bad, but you can see that it's starting to pool up a little bit right there. This sizing glue also has a pearlescent, like a green blue, and as it dries, it will just dry clear. So you can see where I got it on real heavy, it turns blue. But as it dries, it will turn clear. And you want to make sure that it's completely dry before you put on your next coat. And you want to get just a ground layer down onto this before you start going really heavy. Let's go ahead and spray the front of this. Do the same thing.
Someone said, what tips do you have for beginners on leafing?
Well, make sure you apply the glue thin. You also want to be applying your leaf onto a surface that's really smooth, because it's going to take on the contour of whatever that surface is. So if your glue is sprayed on really thick and too thick, and it's kind of built up too thick and it creates a lot of texture in that spot, it's going to show through in your leafing, which isn't, it's not a good look. So I'm going to hit this with the third coat.
And then someone said, what's the working time for the sizing glue?
It's just a couple of minutes. So it all kind of depends on how you spray it. If you're spraying it thicker, how many coats you're doing. Once again, you're going to do the test to where if it's stringy, you're not going to lay anything down if it's stringy. But if it's tacky, you're fine. And that's where you want to get it to. You want to get to that point where it's just tacky but not stringy.
What pressure do you have the airbrush at?
Right now it's the same. It's about 18. Okay. I think we're about ready to go here. Let's see. We're going to let that dry a little bit. Little spot there. Okay. All right. I think we're ready for our first coat of leafing on this side. We'll go ahead and get that done.
How long after it dries before you can't leaf anymore?
Really, it's a matter of a couple of minutes. So it depends on how, like I said, how gnarly you got with the glue, how thick you got it on there. But you don't have much time. You got to move pretty quick. The matter of minutes.
Can you use clear coat over chrome or polished aluminum?
Yes, you can, but whether or not it sticks, that's the question. It's probably not going to stick. I'm going to use the burnishing brush here to kind of push it into the edges.
Is that black base flat or glossy, and does it matter?
The black base coat is, it's always flat. Base coat doesn't really have any kind of a gloss to it. Only when it comes to like single stage colors, like a single stage black, it's clear coat with the black pigment already in it. So it's just like a single stage. But you really don't use that when it comes to custom paint. You really don't use single stages because you can't really build graphics with single stage paints. You use base coats, which dry faster. They lay out thinner. Then you have the gloss clear coat over the top. All right, that looks good. I'm gonna go ahead and spray this one more time. Now, the working time on this, if you ever wait too long, you can always add another coat, and that's exactly what we're gonna do here. Okay, so that's, I'm gonna wait just for a second on that because that was a little stringy. When I say stringy is when I touch it and I pull up, it kind of strings up to the touch a little bit. That means it's a little too wet in order to apply the leafing. The reason being is when you go to spin it or anything like that, the leafing glue could twist and turn with the leafing, making it tear. So you want to have it tacky enough that the leaf is still going to stick, but not wet that where it's going to like smudge and move. And really, it's just a matter of minutes, if not seconds, for that to get to that point, which it's already there. So we're going to lay down gold sheet right there. Now we're going to double leaf this too, because we want this to turn out, we want it to turn out nice. And I'm going to show you how to double leaf. It's one of the nice things about using this method with the sprayable glue is it's not like a one and done kind of thing. You could, we're going to create a base layer here, which is the base layer of leafing. And then we're going to glue one more layer on the top of this. And what that's going to do is it's going to have that safety barrier of the extra. Did I just stick? Ooh, it's not what I wanted to do there. It has that extra layer of leaf in case you do burn through.
Is there a time frame in which the leaf can be spun?
You want to spin it after you're done, like after you get done pulling the tape here. You don't want to wait for too long. It's going to spin better right at first. So just get it done. I noticed that. I don't know why, but that's just something I did notice, that you do get a little bit better spins if you get right on it. As you can see, I'm kind of dabbing it like up and down, like poking at it. The reason being is I don't want to like sweep the leaf away. Poking it down to get it to stick. You can see I'm just kind of filling in a couple areas here and there where a little bit of voids. But we are going to have another layer of leaf go down on this, so we'll have a little bit extra coverage on the edges and whatnot. Once again, just patch in those couple of areas that are being stubborn. All right, let's go ahead and we're going to move to the back. Okay, let's go ahead and do the second coat on this. Let that other backside dry a little bit. Keep working on this front. The more you work this down into those edges, the better your edges are going to look. Like if you, and I said this before, if you can't pinstripe or you're not confident in pinstriping your edges, spend the extra time, kind of like what I do, because I'm not really much of a pinstriper myself. I spend the extra time to make sure that my edges are pressed down really good, and I double leaf it to make sure that I'm going to get nice clean edges that do not need to be pinstriped, because in most cases the way traditional leafing works is the edges don't always turn out very nice, and you would rely on your pinstripe to cover the bad edge. But we're going to clean this up to where hopefully we have pretty nice edges so we don't have to worry about it.
Someone said, yeah, pinstriping is so hard.
Yep, takes a little bit to learn.
Someone said, does a urethane paint lay down better than water-based paint like Createx?
Yes, I would say yes on that for sure. And they dry faster. All right, I'm going to go ahead and lay down a coat on top of this, double leaf it. Let's see how that's feeling. Oh, we're good there. Got plenty of glue on that. That's pretty sticky. So let that dry just a little bit longer. All right, there we go. Once again, just tacky, not stringy.
Is the technique the same for both gold and silver?
Good question. Yeah, you would do it the exact same way. All right, there's our second layer. And like I said, with traditional sizing glue, really, that's not really possible to be able to double leaf it. Seeing that the glue goes on with a brush, and the thickness is just so thick with the traditional sizing glue, you just really can't leaf things twice. It just makes it way too incredibly thick. With this glue, it goes on thin. The leaf also itself is super, super thin. All right, that's looking really good. Let's go ahead and, oh yeah. Let's go ahead and put one more coat on that, make sure we got full coverage. Give that a second to dry. Work on the back here a little bit more. Usually when I'm doing long strips, I'll break out the roller and roll it with, I'd roll it with one of these rollers here. Since we're just doing lettering, I'm not going to use this. I'm just going to stick with the brush the whole time. But really working those edges down. You can see right there, this side of the eye. See, it's still kind of bridged up. That can be shoved down there in that corner.
Someone said, thanks for doing all the trial and error for us.
Yeah, no problem.
The golden silver leaf brush and the roller. He said it turned out good, and he thinks he has more on his glove than on his tape. And someone said, it seems this method would be great for vinyl stencils, correct? Maybe get more intricate leaf.
Yeah, I think so. Yep. Especially if you really got down there and spent the time to make sure that you work your edges out all the way down. You could really get a nice, clean, really clean paint job. But we're going to go with that because I feel like that's going to turn out pretty good. All right, let's go back to the front and see if this is dry. Okay, that's ready. Another thing to keep in mind is you want to keep your leaf as smooth as possible. You don't want it all wrinkled when you go to lay it down.
Someone says, did you pull your link to Amazon? I'm not seeing it anymore in the description.
Yeah, it might not be in the description yet. I'll put it on once this ends. I was kind of in a hurry when I set this thing up today. I was running out of time, and I didn't have that description. But you can check any of my other videos. It should be down in the link. Also on my Amazon, or excuse me, on my Instagram, in the link in that bio, you can find the Amazon link there too, which all this leafing supplies will be there. The new clear coat will be there. Give that a shot if you want. Let me know what you think. Yeah, it's all there. And if you guys have any questions after this, feel free to hit me up on Instagram. All right, I think I got it all there. Let's get it pressed down.
Someone said, had they not watched this, they would have known how much work is needed to make sure the edges are down.
Yes. Yep. Because the edited videos looks like it takes me 15 seconds.
And then someone said, I didn't catch, did you only spray sizing on the letters or brushed it on?
I sprayed it on with an airbrush. Limeline water-based sizing glue.
And the guy that's asking for the link said he doesn't do any other social media, so.
Oh. You can check any of my other videos on YouTube there. You'll be able to find it.
But at the end of this, you'll put it on there too.
Yeah, at the end of this. Yep. So you'll be able to rewatch this live, or tomorrow you'll probably get the edited version of this, which will be cut down to about 3 to 4 minutes. And it'll also be linked in the description there as well. So yeah, I appreciate that. I didn't really have time to get a description set up in this live today. I was, like I said, I was in a big hurry. You see that that's bridged over there, so you want to make sure you're working that out in different directions, or when you go to peel the tape, it's just going to peel that edge up with it. And once that leaf is on, you can't really reapply leaf very easy without having it be noticed. You know, patching stuff works, but only sometimes. Uh-oh.
Someone said, just a ballpark number, what would you have charged for a job like this on this helmet?
It would be about $500 or so. Yeah, it's still frozen.
It's just kind of slow flagging.
All right, I think we got that done. Let's go ahead
When
and...
you get past the 2 hour mark, it doesn't like it.
Oh, really?
You
Shoot.
that. You're at 2 hours and 13 minutes.
Huh.
And it
Gets tired, huh? Okay. Well, we're going to go ahead and pull these. Better? Not liking us. Yeah, hopefully you guys can still hear us. It looks like we got a little bit of a lag. Yep, sorry about that. Yeah, I wonder if yours is lagging too.
Someone said, is that a G baby size helmet?
Baby size? It's a full size.
It keeps flashing the Wi-Fi signal
On mine?
on the computer.
Yeah, I don't know what we can do about that, babe.
They say, is it full size, seriously?
What's that?
Someone said, is it full size, seriously?
Yeah, the helmet?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's an extra large.
They said it looks little.
Maybe I got big hands. This is going to look really good.
Yeah, it just sucks at the video. They wait to see the end of it. It's not picking up.
Yeah, I can try to relog back in. You want me to share relog back in?
No, it's terrible.
Uh, better? You want to click on that? Fix that?
I'm not sure how to do that. It's this.
It's what? Maybe check the internet on that? I don't know. Up in the corner?
Still glitching.
All right, we're getting closer here. No good. Just check right here. A little bit of overspray there. Gotta take care of that.
From what I can see, it looks cool.
Yeah, sorry. You can. I'm glad you can still hear us, but you'll be able to see the finished product on this once the edited video comes out as well, because we at least will have, as far as I know, good visual for that still. Looks like there's just one little spot. There we go. One little chunk that was missing out of right there. Oop. It's a Christmas tree. All right. Well, that looks like that's it. That turned out pretty dang clean. There's a couple of spots I feel like I over messed a little bit right here, also right there. That could still probably be touched up, but yeah, that was some pretty rough masking up in there. Probably could have saved that inner piece too before I pulled that out. Probably would have been a good idea. Saved me a lot of trouble, like somebody mentioned. But you can see, I'll kind of go over everything we did. I have this. It was all metal flaked with the Limeline metal flake with 3 coats of clear coat over the top. I sanded it with 600 grit, so it was all smooth. Laid out the couple of graphics that I had, which was the Kansas City Chiefs logo with the Chiefs writing in the back. We stuck those. After we stuck those, we kind of ran the 1/8 inch and the 16th inch line around everywhere to kind of, make the panels, make the shapes. Masked it off, laid down the colors, the black first, edged everything out. We used the 2 candies, which was the bright red and the gold candy. And then we masked it out for the leafing that we did here on the front and back. But yeah, I'm really happy with the way that turned out. Like I said, the black gave really good contrast to the rest of the logo there. I felt like that was a good idea. I feel like we probably could have even done more black, like maybe even these could be, and we could even go back after the fact. We could black those out to kind of, make everything kind of look, even. But yeah, really happy with how this turned out. If you guys have any questions, feel free to go ahead and hit me up here in the comments. Looks like the visual's not that great, but I think we still have good audio. So we'll answer a couple more questions if we have them. If not, we will see you next week. We got anything? Okay. All right. Thanks for being here, guys. See you next week.